What is up, and welcome in to the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-hosts. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon Wolverine legend. He's a Grambling State Tiger legend. He plays second base for the Grambling State Tigers. Back in the day, he was all swag. It's Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got the
all
NFL
that.
draft analyst for NBC Sports Chicago. You can catch him on the Under Center podcast. You can catch him on Football Night in Chicago. You can catch him everywhere. He is Glenn Morgan, our GM. Gentlemen, it's been a couple weeks. What's going on? How you guys doing?
Going on.
Loaded question. Say that for another time.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
But I did want to say that I put in my submission for the Roman Doomsday Fan Club. I'm waiting to see if I get accepted.
All right.
Yeah, Maserati tomorrow was all booked up. I couldn't get in, so I had no shot at it. So.
Oh man. So we're gonna shift gears here. We usually start with the beloved Bears, but we're gonna start with the
Resurgence?
No, not resurgent, because they lost again. They're on a 2-game losing streak again. But is it me, or do they look a little better with Zach LaVine out of the lineup now? They've gone on a 4-game winning streak. They played a really tough overtime game against Milwaukee, and then got blown out by Denver last night. But yeah, they seem to be a different team without Zach LaVine out there.
Are they a different team? Are they just playing a little differently, or was it the competition that they faced as well? Because keep in mind, the blowout by Denver was without Jokic after about midway through the second quarter, and Jamal never suited up. So they lost to a Denver team that had its two biggest stars out. Now, it is a championship caliber team, and as people say, once you become a champion, you have a championship mentality. So they know how to win. But you would think the Bulls, as well as they've been playing, that they could take advantage of that. Keep in mind, don't forget, they beat Denver twice last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's tough to say. I think some elements look better. Definitely, Kobe has become that guy. I'm not saying he's the guy, but he's become that guy who can be utilized as a strong number two. Definitely a phenomenal number three scoring option. He seemed like he's been playing good all year, playing well all year, and he stepped up with the main guys being out. I think Vooch is still looking like I don't want him on the team anymore. He's so namby-pamby at times. It's frustrating. Especially not taking advantage with Jokic being out. He should have dominated the rest of that game yesterday. I think P will.
Well, he's still at 26 and 16.
Man, sometimes you can have hollow ass points and some hollow ass rebounds, bro.
I think it was a team. I think because they were still in the game when Jokic got ejected. By the way, Jokic shouldn't have been ejected.
No,
that was BS.
I agree.
But I feel like he got ejected. Jamal Murray's out, and they were like, "Oh, all right, we got this game." And
Can they think like that though?
They shouldn't have that mentality, but I think they did. And
Awesome.
Denver came out and blew them out in that second half.
That's possible. I mean, hey, B's boy P Will has definitely stepped up. I mean,
he has.
That dude's coming up there dunking, slashed to the hole. And I think really I'm joking a little bit, but in seriousness, and this is where I'll go to my other point, and then I'll be quiet. P Will without LaVine and DeRozan on the floor at the same time, he's moving around a lot more. He's cutting, he's flashing, he's a lot more active on the boards. His defense is kind of fueling his offense. His offense is fueling his defense. He's getting out on transition. He's being a lot more assertive. I guess you could say aggressive, but I think assertive is a more applicable word. And this is why I don't think it's LaVine. I think it's the LaVine DeRozan combination. I think if one or the other isn't there, I think you'll see P. Will doing it. But when they're both there, he just shuffles off to the corner and gets lost. I think the Bulls, if DeRozan was out instead of LaVine, I think you would still see very similarly the Bulls playing. Because keep in mind, in my opinion, LaVine moves the ball a little more quickly than DeRozan does. DeRozan tends to beat the ball to the ground a little bit. LaVine's a lot more athletic, a little quicker, and LaVine spreads the field more confidently. What I mean by that is DeRozan is taking more threes now, but that's still not his game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas LaVine, he had no problem taking those threes, but he can take it. He's more explosive than DeRozan. He can beat somebody if they come at him back to the hole. So I would be curious and interested to see how this team would be with DeRozan off the floor, say for a couple of weeks, and LaVine in to see if they're even that much more dynamic. But I don't think it's just LaVine. I think it just coincides with LaVine and DeRozan both not being on the floor at the same time. The ball moves a lot better.
Yeah, that's something I've preached for a while now, that them two guys has hindered the development of Pat Will.
Yeah.
And I wasn't necessarily thinking of it like how you just put it, GM. I was more so just being like everybody else. Like Zach ain't on the floor, the team look better. Hey, Zach don't want to be here no way. It's his fault. But I've always told everybody that I've said, they look better without Zach, get rid of Zach. I've always also said we need to get rid of him and DeRozan. Like, so I think both of them need to go. I just think we have hurt that kid's development because he's been stuck on the floor with those two guys. We, like you said, you see a different Pat Will on the floor with them when one of them are out. He's moving more, it's more aggressive, more assertive. And I think that's something that we have to really look at. Like, we need to figure that out because, y'all know I was out on him. Like, dude is just done. He's no use. And then you see how he looks over this little stretch. It's like, man, like this is the flashes that we want to see. Like, man, Kobe is just on another planet right now. It's crazy what he's doing. But they may. I've watched a few of the games. I watched some. Basketball has not really been my cup of tea as of late, but I did tune in a few, once they got hot and just to see some things. One thing I didn't like in that Bucks game was in overtime, DeMar DeRozan went back to who he is. He took literally almost every shot in the overtime. Like, and Kobe is the person got us there. You get us. Mm-hmm. So it's like, those type of things, still are gonna creep its ugly head. But hey, I think what you said is on cue, GM. Maybe let's see how it would look if we were without DeRozan for a couple weeks and see what happens.
Well, here's the question: Does Zach play another game for the Bulls? Because I know he's out. He's out for at least the next 3 weeks with his foot injury.
Funny you asked that because before him being out, for this official amount of time, they were saying the market wasn't really there for him.
Right.
And I can't imagine it's improved with him not playing. So I think he has to play some more just to improve his marketability and so that he can maybe go somewhere that he'll be happy and the Bulls can get something in return as well. So yeah, I think he's going to play for the Bulls again. I think him being out now necessitates that he plays.
But teams know who he is, though. He's a guy that can be a dominant scorer in this league. You're not going to get much defense, but you're gonna get some points.
I'm not saying he's going to play like he has to play 15 games to convince anybody, but I think he needs to play 3 to 5 games to say, hey, I'm healthy. I mean, if I'm trading for you, I do want you to play. I want you to pull on a Bradley Beal and you sit on the pitch.
I'm saying, is he really as banged up as
But that's what I'm saying.
Are they just sitting him just to say, hey, we don't want you to get injured. We want to get you out of here.
They may be doing all that.
But if the market is low, what is that doing?
Right.
Yeah, true
that's not helping him. That's not helping Zach. It's not helping the Bulls. Like I say, he doesn't have to play. Your point, I take it. You're right. The guy's an Olympian. He's been a two-time All-Star. He's a scorer. A lot of things about him already. We just need to know before I make this, exchange that you're actually going to play for me down the stretch the rest of the season, or was that foot thing BS, or was there something to it? You see what I'm saying? So I think 3 to 5 games, and maybe even 2 games might be enough for somebody. But I would go 3 to 5 games and see him play like Zach and be like, all right, cool. Because again, that market was low. So where is it with him not playing?
So we all saw what happened last night. Draymond Green was ejected for just a ridiculous flail and then punch to the face of Jusef Nurkic. What's wrong? What's wrong with this cat, man?
I think the league's just picking on him, man. I mean, I think they're just trying to target a guy because he's had a bit of a pass. I couldn't keep a straight face. Dude, he might have CTE. I don't know, man.
Something wrong with him, man.
It's crazy. They just said, I mean, this goes. You can take it back to the Jordan Poole situation.
Yeah, you can take it back
when he
further
knocked
than
him
that.
out. I'm just saying, in just the last year, you had that. You had the
Stomping on
choke out.
Sabonis.
Oh, stopping on some.
The
Yeah, that's
Sabonis.
in there. The choke out of Rudy Gobert, and now this, and he was only back 5 games, and now he's suspended again. By the way, the NBA gave an indefinite suspension, so he's gonna be out for a while here.
So it's
This
like Animal
is
House.
crazy, man.
It's like an Animal House where you got double secret
Double
probation.
secret, yes, sir. That's
Man,
crazy, man.
I don't know what's to him, man.
I'll tell you right now. As you get older, man, that filter's gone, man.
What are you, 78-year-old man, huh?
Yeah. You just,
You can say
grumpy as
anything.
hell. Look, man. I don't know him personally. Obviously, I don't know his personal background. I don't know if there's a circle of violence he grew up in. I know I'm going all deep in shit, but
Well, he grew
it's
up. He grew up in Michigan, and so he's a Detroit Piston guy.
that'll
So
make you angry. You grew up in Michigan,
yeah. So I'm
but
sure he saw the bad boys, and that's what it is.
I
yeah,
actually saw something where Rasheed Wallace blames the '04 Pistons for Draymond because they said he actually used to be in the locker room and stuff with them.
Really?
Because one of his best friends, one of Draymond's best friends, dad was like
security or something.
in the person like one of the player personnel or something like that.
Okay,
So Draymond used to be there with him all the time
But
around the players.
they weren't a team that was just
they
delivering
were like
cheap shots, though.
no,
No,
they weren't
but
bad,
he's saying that the toughness aspect and how they talked amongst each other and things of that nature, he felt it rubbed on him.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
he felt it rubbed on him
So
that
with
way.
Sheed and Ben Wallace, and
Yeah,
Maybe them VHS tapes of the bad boys from the
I'm saying
Bill
that's what I think it
Lambier,
is, man. It's
Bill
Bill
Lambier,
Lambier,
Mahone, at early
Rick
childhood age.
Mahorn.
Yeah,
man,
at
because
early developmental childhood, he got inundated.
and
I mean,
then
let's be real here. If you take away this aspect of Draymond Green,
nothing left.
just how valuable is he?
Well, when he plays, he has been valuable during the championship run because he's versatile. I mean, he's been a a staunch defender. I won't say he's always great because he pulls and tugs and all that stuff, but he's been a staunch defender, excuse me. And he is a pretty good facilitator, as a power forward, as a point power forward. He brings a certain attitude to the team and in his
Nope.
own way holds them accountable. There are things that some people do that help, the machine keep going or keep the wheels keep spinning, all that kind of stuff. And he's been integral to that. But they're getting older. He's getting slower. He probably has to pull and tug more. And Clay ain't what he used to be. So there's a lot of things that haven't been where they were. And what you're seeing now is a person who is literally doing whatever they can to maybe in their own mind feel
Not play
significant.
basketball.
Or maybe he's just angry. He's just mad that he can't do it no more.
I think it's a little bit of that, but I think it's more so like you said, the attitude has always been there, and it was something that was needed for that team. I think now with the limited skills he had diminishing, that attitude is no longer able to be contained. now he's he was always aggressive. He was always aggressive. He always was living life on the edge. Now he's falling off that motherfucker. He's and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that like his skills are diminishing. Like, and of course, like you said, with the Warriors, that dynasty is pretty much dying.
So then it's time for him to go then.
Yeah.
I think, and what you're not saying, because I read in between the lines when you talk, especially yourself, B, and then Ez, by him not saying something, he speaks volumes and loudly. That being on the West Coast with Clay and Steph, it was too light skinned. And he had brought in the dark skin aspect. That's what y'all saying.
Maybe
y'all saying what I'm saying.
What should the punishment be here?
It's single double probation, man. Come on, do it a $100,000 fine. This dude's he's out of control, man. Like, dude, look, man. I get, especially in the playoffs. I get emotions run high, and I get, you might, punch the nuts every now and again or whatever goofy shit he's done in the past.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it cost the team the finals.
Yeah, he kind of did. And it's like at some point, when does I apologize to my team and they understand how I feel? When does that shit become old? It's already old. And at some point, it's like, dude, you're not helping the product. You're not helping the NBA product, because even though the Warriors aren't what they were, they're still a dynastic team within the last 10 years. So they're still going to get some cachet, and it is in a huge media market. And they did move to Frisco. You know what I'm saying? So they're not even in Oakland anymore. They actually like legit in Frisco. You can't be doing that, bro. We can't take the chance of another Malice in the Palace happening. And although it may not be to that magnitude, there's already 2 occasions this dude's on a national game, and he choking Gobert, and then he punching Jusef.
Man, I tell you this, and I don't agree with this guy, as y'all know much, but I agree with him wholeheartedly here. Dave McCoy said, in order for this behavior to change, these dudes got to retaliate. They got to stop letting him. The bully has to get bullied at some point, because he continues to do it, but he picks. Draymond ain't as dumb as we think.
Right.
He picks his battles wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He does it with certain players. I mean, if you look at the timeline of everybody he's done it to foreigners. He in the one known American-born player he did it to with LeBron James, who he know damn well LeBron ain't about to risk a finals for your ass. He know that. Like, so he's calculated in what he does. Like, let's see. I wish Zebo was still in the NBA, and he did that to Zebo.
Oh, that wouldn't happen. I guarantee you that.
But I want to see somebody retaliate. I do. But I do know most of these guys also honestly have much more to lose than him as well. They're not making as much money as him, stuff like that. So a suspension could hurt them more than it will hurt him in certain cases as well. So I get it why other guys don't necessarily retaliate, but man, if I'm another team, if I'm one of these teams, I jump. Watch it.
I think to your point, they'd have to get him first before he gets them. Because I think when he gets them, they don't see it coming. It's,
No, they
it's
don't.
like they caught off guard. It's like, and by the time they try to retaliate, he's got the leverage on him. Like Gobert, he's behind him, or he's already done his damage. It's like, wait, what?
Well,
You know,
no,
like what?
Nurkic didn't he had no reason to think that it was coming.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, you to your point, as far as retaliation, it have to be counter or retaliation.
Yeah.
I know it's not a
I'm
word, but
I'm gonna get you because I just think you're gonna do something to me.
right.
Man, because like dog, I'm like trying to figure out like dog, the man wasn't even doing nothing to you. I'm like, only explanation I can get is that motherfucker was tickling Draymond on his side. Because like what else caused that type of reaction? He wasn't like grabbing him like that
No,
at all.
he
He
was
literally just had his
for
hand.
position
He
in the
wasn't even,
post.
but Nurkic wasn't even really fighting him. He literally just had his hand on his side. Like did he pinch you? What caused that reaction? Because dude is wild, man. Dude is a wild individual, and he needs help.
Well, it's gonna be interesting to see exactly how many games he's
It's
gonna be
turned
out.
into
And this man, like you said earlier, though, this is the end of the dynasty here for the Warriors. They're in a position right now. They may not even make the play-in tournament right now.
February 1st. And
is
we'll
when
see.
you see him returning.
Yep. Either February 1st or Martin Luther King's birthday.
Well, that ain't shit if it's MLK Day.
Well, that's about a month.
Hey,
How many games is that?
speaking of the Warriors here, January 12th, they're coming to town as the Bulls unveil their Ring of Honor. The
Ain't the
inaugural.
same
What's
people
that?
that's already ain't the same people that's already up there. No
Actually, for
Africans.
the most part,
They're supposed to be
uh,
adding Rodman and Artist Gilmore, right?
yeah, the inaugural class is Phil Jackson, Jerry Krause, who are already up in the rafters. Artis Gilmore, Jerry Sloan's up there already. Tony Kukoc, Bob Love's already up there. Chet Walker, Johnny Red Kerr, Tex Winter, and Dick Klein, who was the original owner of the Bulls. And they also are adding the 95-96 team, of course, the 72 win team. There is a big omission on here, though, that I have to bring up,
Jimmy
and I'm
Butler.
sure not Jimmy.
D Rose.
No. Our old buddy, Storm and Norm Van Leer.
Really? Norm? They're not really.
Norm's not on there.
That's weird.
Oh wow.
I have a problem with that. I mean, if you put Jerry Sloan on there, you got to put Norm. That was the backcourt, right?
Well, yeah. It's
I guess GM is more so like
it's the 1960s and
probably
1970s.
both of them shouldn't be on there versus both of them being on there.
No, I think they both should be.
They both do.
Be up there. Dude, they should have been the first group that made it to the finals. They'd always run up against Golden State like right before they got to the finals, I think, because back then the Bulls were in the West.
They got to the Western Conference Finals in '75.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because Norm, for me growing up, and I'm a tad bit older than you guys. For me growing up, professional basketball, because you couldn't, there wasn't cable in Chicago back then. So seeing the Bulls on TV was rare. And my dad wasn't, with 5 kids and, working the way he was working, well, none of us getting to the stadium. So those rare occasions where I saw the Bulls or heard names or watched the news, the 10 o'clock news, if I could stay up long enough to see sports at 10:27 or 10:26, Norm Van Leer, Artis Gilmore, those were names that I heard. I kind of heard Bob Love. And then, Artis Gilmore was probably the biggest name for me growing up, but I heard of Norm Van Leer. I heard my dad talk about Norm Van Leer. And then once cable did kind of come to Chicagoland area, Norm was the face of the Bulls for me. He was that connection to that part that I didn't really, see as a kid growing up and that preceded me as a child, like, late 60s, 70s, what have you. And Norm became that face. He became that vocal face, of the franchise. Because, you know, Michael was on his way, hadn't quite got there yet. And then when Michael got there, you know, it kind of coincided. It seemed like there was a connection or some kind of connectivity to it. And then obviously, Ez and I were fortunate enough to be able to work with him. And then it became that even much more of a connection. So it is weird for someone to have a dynamism both on the court and off the court as a personality to not be in the Ring of Honor. That's really weird.
So hopefully, I guess they're going to do this every 2 years. They're going to add people to it. I'm sure.
Norm will make it eventually.
I would hope. I'm sure, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, those guys are going to be on there. And hopefully Norm gets the recognition that I think he deserves, because he is an all-time great Bull.
So Quentin Daly's not going to make it.
I don't think Quentin Daly's going to make it, man.
Or Big O, Reggie Theus, maybe. The ladies like Reggie Theus to be up there.
Reggie Theus wouldn't be a bad move.
Yeah.
Like I think back when I was a kid, I think I said this before. My aunties always talk about, Reggie Theus.
Right. Them thighs, girl, them thighs. Yeah, that was the other guy, Richard Theus, by the time I started being the Washington Bulls.
So hopefully that happens pretty soon. Do Mike and Scotty show up for this ring ceremony?
I doubt it.
That's a good question.
I saw a post saying they gonna be reunited, but I don't expect them to show
up. I don't know. It all depends on who is older that they respect that's there. Like if Phil's there, they may. I don't know if they both respect Phil. I mean, I don't know if Scotty respects Phil like he used to. I don't know. Like Tex has passed on, correct?
Yeah,
yeah. Like
him and Red Kerr are have passed.
Yeah,
so
that's which they didn't care for.
And poor Tony Kukoc is in the middle.
Once again,
because I think he's cool. He's got a good relationship with both Jordan and Pippen.
Yeah.
So
win a few championships to do that.
Yeah.
That's weird, man. I would say if there was a elder that they respected outside of Mr. Reinsdorf, that is, I think they would be there. And Scotty might still have, I don't know, an issue or two. I don't know how that whole relationship is, but someone like Tex, someone who went through everything with them, you know what I'm saying? Like the coaches or what have you. So I don't know, man. They've been through so many honors. They've been there so many times to pull this down or raise a banner or that or the other. I don't know if the Ring of Honor is going to really hit special for them or not.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the purpose of it is.
Because we suck. It's called a distraction. That's what you do. That's the Romans do when the
I couldn't agree more.
All of these. Wait. Well, four of the guys, four numbers are up in the rafters already. These guys have been honored. Every name of every championship team is on the championship banner.
Championship banner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I just told you.
I get it. You're right. I think you're right. You're right. But
when the peasants are in an uproar,
let's make a Ring of Honor.
You give them something. You give them a carnival. You give them a show. Distraction. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? It's not why you are here. All right. I guess so. Let's move on to some football, fellas. We haven't talked since the college football playoff.
Ooh.
And so I got to get you guys' thoughts on the Final Four here. Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama.
Boo! Get the hell out of it. Y'all should have lost to Auburn. Boo! Get him out of here.
Right. They were a miracle play away from losing to a team that lost to New Mexico.
Yeah.
New Mexico State, excuse me.
And has a losing record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rivalry, but
it's shameful. And it's shameful the excuses that they put out there to the world. Mm-hmm. That it doesn't matter that they barely won games in the SEC. It's the SEC. but you do Florida State the way you do them.
I don't get 13 and 0.
Like I can care less. Like I kept telling people, I could care less that they lost their quarterback. That is not fair to the rest of them kids.
Nope.
That one player
Yep.
deters them from achieving their goal. If you want to punish them, let them get punished in the playoff.
Yeah, they'd have been a 4 seed.
They earned it. They earned it. They continued to win without the quarterback.
Without the second string quarterback, too.
Without the second string. And all you did was punish those kids. Talking about the committee looks at the left. Man, I don't want to hear that shit. Because if goddamn Miro got benched this year, now all of a sudden he's a stud to y'all. Shut the hell up, man. I don't want to hear that, man. It's all about money and it's all about ratings and all that crap, man. But that's bogus. It's bogus. It's bogus.
Yes.
You took an opportunity from them guys for what? And although I've never rooted for Michigan in my life. And it's probably not gonna happen. But man, I would if they was to blow Alabama's ass the hell out.
Won't happen.
It's not gonna happen.
They're gonna lose.
It probably is. But
Rematch.
Man, that'll be like just everything.
The rate that the network or whoever powers that be are hoping for the rematch, Alabama Texas rematch. That's what they're hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Because Washington doesn't have the same cachet as Texas does.
Washington gonna beat Texas.
I don't know.
Even though I'm picking Texas to beat them, but I just think Washington gonna be like TCU was last year.
No, I think they're much better offensively. They're much more diverse offensively.
But I'm saying we didn't expect TCU to beat Michigan last year. That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people are going to expect Texas to beat them. And I think it's going to be a TCU type thing where Washington comes out and punch them in the mouth, and Texas is not going to be able to recover.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, Washington, out of the 4 teams that made it, had the toughest schedule. Pac-12 was the best conference in football this year, ironically. I'm a big SEC guy, as you guys know. But before the season began, if you recall, I said, I think this will be the first year that an SEC team does not play in the playoffs. And people are like, oh, you crazy, man. You talking about blah, blah, Georgia. I'm like, dude, Georgia's not that good. And what I said should have happened. Alabama should not have been there. Florida State should have been there. The fact that you win with your second and third string quarterback, your defense is good enough. And like you said, you earned it. Like, there could be like 7 reasons of boxes that you check off, as a reason why a team should be in a playoff. Undefeated season, win your conference, this, that, your top scoring, all these different things. And the one thing you can't control, which is an injury, is the only reason. like this one reason that you can't control is like 90% of the tests. But all the other stuff you did is only like 10% or 10%. That don't make any sense, man. That's straight BS. So the SEC. I'm sorry, say again.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the SEC was not as strong as it has been. It's always gonna be a solid conference, but it was not that strong this year.
Well, Georgia. I was gonna say no way the SEC was gonna be shut out of that money. That's what this is about.
I mean, I get it. Yeah. But say that. Then say that. Then say that.
But they can't, because then it's the appearance of it all. Basically, what you said anyway by doing that, because of the appearance of it all. But man, it's a lot of hypocrisy, bro. I mean, college sports, particularly football, has had a lot of hypocrisy over the years. This has got to be one of its most hypocritical moments to date.
Now let's move on to the beloved Bears, who are on a two-game winning. Well, it's not a winning streak. It's only 2 games, so they've won 2 in a row.
Yeah, it's a streak.
No, it's not a streak. A streak is 3.
No, streak is a few.
Well, they won a couple games here.
Yes, yes.
And it seems like the narrative is starting to change with a lot of people here. That are saying, oh man, everybody's gotta stay. Flus has got to stay. Justin's got to stay. Well, not really the offensive coordinator, but
Yeah.
yeah, just find it interesting the way things change when W start popping up.
Well, we'll see. Cleveland's coming up. I don't expect us to win, but how well we lose may determine how that roller coaster for Justin in particular goes down or remains level or does a little corkscrew into the next week.
Yeah, it's been a lot of up and down with fans, media through this whole thing. And it's like the only thing that I've seen consistently is like Justin Fields is the only quarterback in the NFL that has to be fucking perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
He
no,
has
he's not the only one. Lamar Jackson.
well,
No, because Lamar still can't pass. Lamar can't win a playoff game. Lamar. I'm
but
like, for a dude
well,
who's won an MVP, he is just
yeah,
tremendously.
that's I think Lamar it's higher expectations. Justin Fields, it's went from he can't do this, then he show you can do that. So he can't do that, he show you can do that. To the record, he can't win games. Then he wins a game against Minnesota. Oh, they didn't score a touchdown. Then he wins a game against Detroit. Detroit isn't as good as everyone thinks. It's like the goalpost is going to continue to move
Right.
to the point you got. I mean, and granted, we all have been victim of calling for the coach's head. We all
Mm-hmm.
have.
Are
We
we
all
victim?
have.
I
Huh?
think we've been. I think we've been right. I don't think we've
But
been
yeah, I
guilty
mean,
of it.
just saying we've all guilty. I'll say that we've all been guilty of calling for the coach's head.
OC.
We've called
No,
for
we
both.
call we call
We've
for
called for
Flus too.
both. We've called for Flus.
Yeah.
Not as consistent as Getsy, and sometimes we've been flip flop. But we have called for the coach's head, no matter who it is. But to hear on Chicago radio a a guy, I don't know who the guy is, screaming, upset that the Bears are trending upward because he wants them to fire the coach to go after a big name. And my thing is like, hold on, like, okay, let's take a step back here, people. Bruce is only in year two. He is only in year two.
Some coaches
Like
been fired in 1 year. Go down to Houston, ask them how that went.
they have, but like let's acknowledge that we do see improvement, especially on his side of the ball, especially since he began to take over the defense. I mean, like as much as it's been frustrating. Sometimes you do got to take a step back and just acknowledge what's happening right in front of our eyes. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Now, the OC is a little different, but hey, to me, we're trending upward, and it's like it's like it's still not enough for people. Still not enough for people. It has been for when we were losing. I just want to win. I just want to win. Then you win a game and it's not enough. It's just not enough. Like we are, I don't get it with this city and this fan base. We want the quick fix. And I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to finally understand why the Bears ain't been shit my whole life. Because we want the quick fix. We don't want to appreciate a process. And like I understand everybody hates the trust the process term because Philadelphia, the 76ers kind of beat that in our head for so long, even though honestly the process began to work after a while. I mean, they didn't win a title, but They were a contender,
right?
but like no one wants to let a process play out and see what happens. Like, quite frankly, right now in front of our eyes, we're seeing this team trend upward. And we're actually, what no one wanted to acknowledge last year when Justin Fields had his run and how the defense was letting him down. Now we're seeing that if the defense is comparable, this kid can win us games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw it against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it against Minnesota where we only scored 12 points.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time the Bears did something like that? With Mac first year, maybe, where we won a game strictly because our defense balled out. Like that, those things matter. And I think, man, it's crazy. But that's my rant on that. Do we want to hear about the game though? Oh no. Justin just kills the Lions though. That shit is crazy.
True. That's the other thing I was going to say too. It's like, well, we still have to hold in reserve a little bit because it's the Lions. And here's the ironic thing: both him and Trubisky killed the Lions. They both love to play the Lions. And I think whatever reason, maybe the Lions and their defensive schematics from, I guess, one iteration of the defense to the next, they don't believe in putting a spy on athletic quarterbacks. I don't know what it is, but those guys, Trubisky and
but two different coaching staffs. Though.
I said different iterations. I can't explain it. Yeah, I mean it's like I said, something like, I don't know if it's just like a Detroit thing or what, but it's weird, and that's kind of my point. It's weird that both Trubisky and Justin, that the Lions are, the teams that they really do have had the most success against in terms of playing one-on-one time. I'm with you, B, and I'm sure as well. And the crazy thing is, it's like, again, we've been saying it all season. You cannot assess Justin justifiably so unless you have context to it. Again, like those idiots on FS1, Enjoy Taylor, I'm sorry, you're an idiot now. Because you can't keep telling me what his record is. He's 6-28.
Right.
And now he's 8-28. There's a reason why he lost. Yeah, motherfucker, there's a reason why he lost 28 games. Because let's see, his rookie year was BS because, failing GM, failing head coach. He comes into a situation where it's a lame duck season and he's a rookie. So what do you expected him to do on an aging team that it seems listless because all the players know these fools are out. They don't know what their future is going to be. The team doesn't have the same mojo. They're kind of going through the motions. And even in that rookie year, there were some games he could have won if the defense hadn't let him down. That game against Pittsburgh on a Thursday night or Monday night, you can't remember which one it was. They should have won that game. So there were things Justin was doing that said, okay, well, we'll see what happens next year. Again, he's a first-round quarterback. So then the next year comes in, and so the next year you have a rookie head coach, a rookie defensive coordinator, a rookie offensive coordinator, and a rookie general manager, and a team of players that you're getting rid of because, you're blowing it up, basically. And so Justin was the only reason why those guys were in any of those games. And so you're asking this young man to carry a franchise that's trying to figure out who it is and redefine itself. So that's a lost season, if you're going to be fair about it. So you're having a young man who is still yet to play 30 NFL games. You're saying the weight of his second season is all on him, when as a rookie, you don't hold it on a rookie quarterback his rookie year. So the following season, you got a rookie coaching staff. How is that on Justin? And so then you come into this season where you have, an amalgamation of better talent, which is great. But guess what? Now it's a new fucking team. So now you got a whole bunch of new guys trying to get to know each other on a coaching staff that has to relearn new guys because most of the guys I had last year are gone. And then not everybody's healthy at the beginning of that year. Your offensive line is essentially retooled, and those guys weren't healthy at the beginning of the year. Your wide receiver core is trying to figure out, they know DJ Moore is the number one guy, but everyone else's role hasn't really been defined. And your running back room seems good, but then your OC is not utilizing everybody because he's trying to figure out how to utilize everybody. And he's not quick with that, apparently. Your defensive front seven is essentially new. A couple of new guys. Your whole linebacking crew, for the most part, outside of Sanborn, is new, and Sanborn's just a second-year guy. And your front four, essentially some new guys, maybe some other guys that had been there, but they weren't the best of dudes. And your secondary is young.
All your defensive ends were new.
Right. All your defensive ends were new. And your secondary, out of the exception of Eddie, are basically in their second year or rookie. And then they weren't healthy.
And injured.
Right. So they weren't healthy. So now you can't even develop any continuity because no one is there enough for it to develop. And then you'll hold Justin accountable for all of that. While keep in mind, Justin's still trying to figure out where he is in all this. Like where is my game in this? How am I being utilized? What am I being asked to do? And does this make any sense? Not to mention that he's had to deal, and I know somebody's making a lot of excuses, but I'm really not. These are real factors. You still having to deal with him somehow say, okay, forget all that shit that happened before. Like, well, no, dude, like I physically and emotionally and psychologically went through getting my ass kicked the last 2 years, like last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to have trust in my coaching staff. I got to have trust in my guys, and I don't know my guys, and I don't understand what the coaching staff is asking. And somehow all this is Justin's fault. And so the narrative becomes for those people who know that that's not right, say, well, we know that's not right, but look, it's been 3 years, I'm like, hey, hasn't been 3 years yet. He's still working on his third year, by the way. But, it's been 3 years, maybe Justin has success. I mean, he's talented. Yeah, maybe he visited Atlanta. So hold on, dude. If he's talented and you can still see him having success, why don't you invest in the dude that's here who's talented?
Why don't you want him here? But that speaks to what I said before, where I'm like, what is it with the media and wanting to get him so out of Chicago?
I don't get it. But here's the crazy thing. Here's how people switch shit around. This is what makes me so pissed off when people just start talking out both sides of their fucking mouth. They'll say, well, the Bears can't pass on. They passed on Mahomes. Back the fuck up. Mahomes wouldn't have been the guy that they passed on. It was Deshaun Watson. I know Mahomes went before Watson, but Deshaun Watson was the name guy. Mahomes was a dude who had a 12-13 record coming out of Texas Tech, and no quarterback from there had ever, quote unquote, done anything. And nobody knew who the fuck Mahomes was. They didn't. Everyone knew who Deshaun Watson was because he'd been to back-to-back national championships. Okay, it was in the Heisman race. The Bears passed on Deshaun Watson. So that's the first thing. And then, oh man, the Bears passed on CJ Stroud. No, they didn't pass on CJ Stroud.
Exactly.
Last I checked, the first pick of the draft was Bryce Young.
Man.
If CJ Stroud comes here, let's say he comes here and Bryce Young goes to Houston, Bryce Young is having a successful season. And you want to know why CJ Stroud wouldn't have come here, even if the Bears were thinking about taking him? Because here's a narrative if CJ Stroud doesn't work out. How the hell are these dumb motherfuckers going to take a quarterback from the same school that can't produce quarterbacks? They just had Justin Field. Why are you going to take the guy that couldn't start behind Justin Field? That would have been the narrative if they took CJ Stroud. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. So that's all bullshit and conjecture. It's like willful narrative conjecture. All right. So all that crap is the stuff that you're putting out there as opposed to saying, hey, why don't we invest? Because if you watch and see, you can tell there's been incremental development. Does he have warts? Most definitely. What quarterback doesn't? What quarterback from his class is a motherfucker? Is that dude? Is it Trevor Lawrence? I can't tell. Because that 3 interception game seemed like it cost him a game that they should have won last week. And he's had a lot of picks in his play. He's got a much better talent around him over consistency, length of time than Justin has. Definitely not Wilson. And definitely not Mac Jones. And the other dude is languishing on the bench in Dallas. He's on a different team and is playing on the bench with Dallas. So you go the year before Justin. Is there any, it's like, dude, stop yourself.
Man, so I was watching Get Up and I want to say of Jeff Saturday who really like hit the nail on the head. Like, man, everyone keeps talking about generational. There's always a generational talent. And Dominique Foxworth's trying to say, we never missed on a generational talent. When we said Andrew Luck, he like, man, Jeff Saturday said, man, they missed on only 2. Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. Every year there's some guy and Greeny said, yeah, because people were definitely saying Bryce Young was the miniature Patrick Mahomes last
Right,
year.
right.
And Foxford go try to say, no, that's the hell they
Yes,
were.
they were.
Like when y'all are wrong, y'all never want to admit it on TV. And too often y'all are wrong when it comes to these quarterbacks. Like, look around the league, man. Look around the league. Some of the best teams in football have quarterbacks that they drafted late because their rosters are set in stone. And you can't sit here and tell me that because this quarterback class sounds just like Justin Fields' quarterback class. That was one of the best quarterback classes coming out. And so you can't sit here and tell me that, hey, if we do, let's say Justin run the table, we pick up his 5th-year option. You can't tell me that in year 5 that 2020 that'll be the
25,
2025 or 20, no, I'm talking about draft class. That 2025
20,
or 2026 draft class won't have a generational talent at quarterback that perhaps the Bears might be able to go get if we stink. So there's always going to be someone there. But guess what would happen at that point in time? We would have generated enough draft capital to build our roster out or trade up to get a quarterback if we need it. Like, we don't need to do that right now. Like, it's crazy to me. And I want to ask, and I've asked this question in my head and just seeing it on different shows. Like, if the Bears didn't have Carolina pick, would we be saying move on from Justin Fields?
No.
No. If your answer is no because of that, then why are we doing it then?
Because the media, the national media especially, they get a narrative and they run with it, and everyone bites on the same narrative. Everyone talks the same thing. It's, well, you have to do it because of the money. You have to do it because you need to start over. Well, hey, guess what? If it were that fucking easy, how come everybody doesn't have the fucking championship? You want to know why? Because when you start over like that, not only do you have to hit on the quarterback, you got to hit on a new coach. That coach, that new head coach, has got to hit on his defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. There's a lot more variables you need to hit on if you do a complete restart, as opposed to if you do a reassessment. And okay, I need to fill this hole, this hole, and this hole, as opposed to, well, fuck it, let's start all over again. Because now you run the risk, if you start all over again, of those players that you brought in as free agents, their contracts, by the time this guy's ready, they're going to be out the door or want to go somewhere else, or ask themselves, like, man, dude, like, I thought we were doing this with Justin Fields. I thought we were on this path. Now you're doing a reset. You know, you messing with my time and my money. You know, so they may not want to resign, or you're going to try and lowball and maybe like, I'm out of here. And then you find yourself in a situation again where you're not having the talent to support the young talent you have at quarterback. But again, man, you know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. And I'll say it until I'm blue, green, and purple and everything else in the face. I don't give a F who you draft. If you don't have good coordinators, it matters not. You have to have them. You can look at any quarterback that's had success over the last, I don't know, quarter of a century. And more times than not, but especially the last 10 years with the way things are done now in the modern NFL, you have to have good coordinators. Josh Allen struggled early on. Dabo comes in. He looks good. They get to the, you know, a click away from going to the AFC Championship game, one of the best games, playoff games we've seen in the last, you know, 10 years or whatever. Dabo leaves, gets a head coaching job. New guy comes in. Josh Allen struggles and looks worse. It's like a regression. And then they let the OC go this year, which I don't know why Chicago can't do that, but they let the OC go mid-season. And all of a sudden, Buffalo's like a team that nobody wants to play in the playoffs. You know, you look at what Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not as good as he was last year. I'm not saying the OC is bad, but it's an adjustment period. It's a new OC and a new DC in Philadelphia. And they're winning games because they have that championship mind pedigree-wise, because they arguably could have won the Super Bowl last year if it wasn't for a questionable call. But they won the NFC, so they at least are NFC champions. And they're a talented team. But they're struggling at times because some of the talent, but injuries, but they're getting used to these new coordinators. You look at the Chiefs, and I know Andy Reid's calling the plays, But Andy Reid ain't running through the practices drill by drill like the OC supposed to be doing. And that sense of accountability that used to be there with Bieniemy is clearly not there with Nagy. And these guys are dropping balls, offensive linemen are offside. There's a sloppiness, and these dudes are averaging almost like what the Bears are averaging when Nagy was here.
Receivers lining up offside.
Can I take them?
I mean, come on, man. How you gonna make Mahomes and Kelsey look below average?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. That's hard to do.
Can I take a small pivot real quick?
Sure.
Off of what you're talking about though, and this, of course, he's not a Bears player or nothing, but we gotta put some respect on Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy name.
Well,
because so many were saying Kellen Moore.
What happened in San Diego, or what happened in the LA Chargers?
And the Chargers, they swore that Chargers offense was about to take off. And Dak Prescott was going to take a hit. And man.
Makes a difference, man. Makes a difference. Look at Denver. Russell Wilson's on a Hall of Fame track in Seattle. He has one bad year. One bad year in Denver. Now, Russell got out of hand, no doubt, but the coach didn't know what the hell he was doing. He wouldn't hold nobody. Russell had an office. Come on, man, stop. Russell, the quarterback, got an office? Come on, man. Get the fuck out of here. Sean Payton's like, yeah, no, that shit ain't flying. That ain't flying here. And within a season, we see the team that was, 1-4 at one point, or maybe 1-5, give up the most points, probably at least that I've ever seen in my life, 70 points to the Dolphins. And now these dudes are trending to make the playoffs. It makes a difference who you're coordinating, offensively and defensively. It makes a difference. But
I guess it's in year one for Sean Payton, but he's also a Super Bowl winning coach. No. But I'm just saying how his improvement of his team after how they started,
right,
is glorified. Like we got to give Flu some credit. We have to. We started 0-4.
Yeah.
We're 5-4 in our last 9 games,
and should be 7-3 or 7-2.
Yeah, you like we have to give the guy some credit. Like,
yeah, I'm not mad at Flus at all. I'm not mad at Flus.
This team is improving. All them times where he got in the media and talking about we're almost there, and I'm ready to shut the fuck up. We're not almost there. Like he got me like sitting back, like he might have been right. Like we're almost there. Like this weekend this Sunday is going to be a huge test because it's 2 things. That's a great ass defense. And Justin probably still having nightmares behind that.
I was gonna say that the last time he played Cleveland, he got sacked 9 times, was hit 15 times.
Man, it's either 2 or 3.
Shell shocked.
Man, it's either 2 things. Either he's shell shocked or he out for revenge. And if he come out and have a monster game against this team, case is closed. Case is goddamn closed. Because that tells you that this kid is like, look, I remember. And that shit ain't happening again. Now, granted, we've seen that before. I mean, it was college. But he came back with a vengeance for Clemson after that first year losing to Clemson.
Right.
So we've seen how he comes back when he feel like that was a memorable loss. Like you ain't forgetting that was his first start too of his career. That shit was tragic. So,
but Getsy's he can't call it like he did the Minnesota games.
Nope.
Yeah, because Schwartz he likes to bring the pressure as well, and he's a veteran defensive coordinator, and he's gonna find your weak points. He's one of those guys.
Jim Schwartz is their defensive coordinator?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
So it's going to be a challenge. I really believe the Bears defense needs to win this game for the Bears. And when I say win this game, I mean give the offense multiple opportunities. Like they're gonna need some 3 and outs. They're gonna need to force a couple of turnovers. You don't want Flacco getting in any kind of a rhythm. They're gonna have to take away the tight end. because if they don't take away the tight end, it's just going to open it up for the outside, and then we're in
No,
trouble.
we don't want them to take away the tight end. That's my fantasy tight end. I need him. I
I'm
need him
trying
to
to
score some
win.
points.
Are you wearing all this bear gear? You talking about Njoku?
You ain't got to buy this week, so it don't matter.
No. I am
Oh,
playing this week.
I got to buy this week. So
do I have a bot? Do I have a bot? Do we have bots in our league?
I don't think we don't have
oh,
buys.
y'all don't have buy. I'm the number one seed in our league. I got to buy.
Who won the division, Ash? Yeah, buddy.
Did you see in our league, by the way, we had they named the top 3 games of the year. Our 2 games were the 2 best games of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first time we went against each other, I beat you 196 to 91, I think.
That's not a good game.
Damn.
But I put up the most points in league history.
Right. In league history.
Yes. And then the second was the second to last game.
Right.
Where you beat me by 20, but I was the second. I think you won 162 to 142.
Something like that.
I was the second highest scorer in the league that week. So it was the highest scoring game of the year. Yeah.
You see how that is, B? I ain't gonna take that bullshit line down, man. Beat my ass like that. Don't give me a second crack at it.
Oh man.
But so, man.
Hey, let's end it there. Let's go to picks real quick. And last time we met up, Glenn, you went 2-1. Good week.
Yes, sir.
You're still in first place. You're not 20-13. Smoke, you and I both went 1-2. You have a half game lead on me. You're 16-1, and I am 16-17. So I will pick first, and let's see. I am going to take the Falcons. They are 3-point favorites against Carolina. So I'm going to take the Falcons there. I'm going to take the Broncos. They are getting 4 against the Lions in Detroit. So I'll take the Broncos there. And
4-point dog.
Yeah. And I'm going to take the Cowboys, who are a 2-point dog, going to Buffalo. So I'm going to rock with Dak and the boys there. Smoke, who you got?
I'm going to go Colts -1.5 over Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Tampa Bay +3.5 versus Green Bay. And I'm also going to take Dallas +2.
+2, I got, yep.
Yeah. I'm going to take Dallas +2.
All right. Glenn, who you got?
I'm going to take the Bengals -3 against the Vikings. I'm going to take the Browns -3 against the Beloved. Sorry, just don't feel good about this game. Let me take the Ravens -3.5 against the Jaguars. Yeah, Jaguars are a home dog, huh?
You know, I want to change one of mine.
What's that?
I want to change the Cowboys one to the Bears +3.
Oh.
Somebody's going to be right. Somebody's
Drinking
going to be wrong.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, yeah.
Bears +3.
On the road? They're going to have a road win? Or they're going to lose by 1 and win your bet?
Hey, they're going to cover.
I'm with it. Hey, shout out to Chicago State, who upset Northwestern tonight.
They did.
What?
Yeah.
Goddamn did.
That makes no sense.
First time in school history they have beaten a
Big Ten team.
AP top 25 ranked team.
They still in the WAC?
They just announced that they're moving. I think they're independent right now, but they're going to be going to the Northeast Conference.
Yeah.
And they're trying to start
and they'll have a FCS.
Right, they're trying to start an FCS football program, hopefully by 2025.
Really? Where are they going to practice? In the parking lot?
I haven't figured that one out yet.
They're gonna practice over there by the DMV.
Gately State.
They're gonna get right at Gately. They could go wait. They could go. What's the park over there right off the Ryan on 95th where Harlan is?
Abbott Park.
Yeah, they could practice over there. But shout out to Shot State, man. Shout out. That's awesome, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah, congratulations. Go Cougs.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank everyone for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch us at Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you'll find a link to our podcast and the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs and yourself and myself. Yourself wouldn't work. And the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Kivitz and Kenny Stevenson. I'm still not good at this. We're about 100 and some episodes in. Yo, Glenn.
Yes, sir.
Please take us out.
Hey, it's like we always say, we ain't saying we're right. We just know that going with Justin ain't wrong.
We'll catch you next week.